Surviving the heat wave. Tips and insights. Brace yourself for a scorching end to July. This isn't your average heat wave. As we approach the final days of July, a suffocating heat wave is set to engulf much of the eastern United States, putting millions at risk of heat stroke and other heat-related illnesses. This prolonged period of intense heat is expected to last until at least July 30th, so it's crucial to take extra precautions to stay cool. But here's where it gets controversial. Some experts believe this could be a sign of more extreme weather events to come. So how can you beat the heat? Stick to air-conditioned spaces, hang out with friends who have pools, stock up on icy treats, and whip up some refreshing cold summer salads. The National Weather Service is warning that this heat wave will be particularly dangerous due to the high humidity levels and lack of overnight relief. Temperatures are forecast to soar into the upper 90s and even hit 100 degrees in some areas, with the feels-like temperature potentially exceeding a sweltering 110-115 degrees. The culprit behind this oppressive heat is a dome of high pressure trapping the hot air over the eastern part of the country. And this is the part most people miss. The combination of extreme heat and humidity could linger for several days, keeping the heat risk at major to extreme levels across much of the eastern U.S. The Tennessee Valley, Mid-South region, Southeast, and Carolinas are expected to experience the most prolonged and dangerous heat. But here's the kicker. This heat wave is not just a one-off event. Experts like Max Holmes, president and CEO of the Woodwell Climate Research Center, warn that we can expect more frequent and intense heat waves as the Earth continues to warm. In fact, June 2025 was the 7th hottest June on record, and temperatures across the country have been averaging 1.5 degrees warmer than normal in the first 2 weeks of July. So what can you do to protect yourself and others from extreme heat? The American Red Cross advises staying hydrated, seeking out cool spaces, dressing in lightweight and loose-fitting clothes, and acting fast if someone shows signs of heat exhaustion or stroke. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this heat wave a sign of things to come as our planet continues to warm? And are we doing enough to prepare for and mitigate the impacts of extreme weather events? Share your thoughts in the comments below. U.S. Heat Dome 2025. Dangerous heat wave impacts 100 million plus people across the country. A staggering heat dome is set to create perilous conditions for over 100 million individuals across the United States this weekend. This intense weather phenomenon, which has already scorched a significant portion of the central U.S., is now shifting eastward, raising alarms for many. As of Friday, heat advisories were issued along the northeastern coastline, stretching from Portland, Maine, all the way down to Wilmington, North Carolina. In some areas, the heat index, an indicator of how hot it feels when humidity is factored in, has soared to 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit above the seasonal average. The National Weather Service, NWS, has also warned that overnight temperatures will remain uncomfortably warm and humid. While the northeastern region may experience thunderstorms, some of which could be severe, these storms are unlikely to provide significant relief from the oppressive heat. Instead, the heat and humidity are expected to intensify further south, particularly in the southeastern U.S. and the Tennessee Valley, where the most severe conditions are anticipated this weekend. To clarify, the heat index is a measure that combines air temperature and humidity to reflect how hot it actually feels. For instance, New York City is predicted to endure a heat index of 106 degrees Fahrenheit on Friday afternoon, which is notably higher than the typical temperatures in Phoenix, Arizona, the hottest major city in the country. In the southeastern states, the heat index could potentially exceed 115 degrees Fahrenheit, posing serious health risks to individuals lacking adequate cooling systems or hydration. The NWS has cautioned that this heat wave will be prolonged, with minimal overnight relief and persistently high humidity levels, significantly increasing the danger to public health. The combination of high temperatures and heavily elevated humidity levels raises the likelihood of heat exhaustion, heat-related illnesses, and even fatalities. Vulnerable populations, including children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing health conditions, are at the greatest risk. Additionally, outdoor workers, such as gardeners, construction workers, farmers, and delivery personnel, along with homeless individuals and those struggling with substance use, are particularly susceptible to these extreme conditions. A heat dome is a specific meteorological event where hot air becomes trapped over a region due to a stagnant high-pressure system, leading to elevated ground temperatures. The lack of cloud cover associated with this high-pressure system allows the sun's rays to directly heat the ground, exacerbating the situation. While heat domes are known to trigger heat waves, which are becoming increasingly common due to the ongoing climate crisis, it is important to note that heat waves can occur independently of heat domes. Climate scientists have observed that these heat domes are intensifying as a result of global warming linked to human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels. Currently, the heat dome affecting the U.S. is moving at a slow pace, but continues to create hazardous conditions from the Mid-South to the Mid-Mississippi Valley, with heat alerts still active from Oklahoma to West Virginia. In the so-called Corn Belt, which encompasses the Midwest and parts of the South where corn is predominantly cultivated, a phenomenon known as corn sweat is contributing to the humidity. This can elevate the heat index by as much as 10 degrees Fahrenheit due to the release of oxygen and water vapor from the pores on the underside of corn leaves, as explained by Justin Gleason, the state climatologist of Iowa, in a CBS News interview. Moreover, meteorologists are predicting flash flooding from northeast Kansas to much of Indiana, along with the possibility of scattered thunderstorms in parts of New England, the northern Mid-Atlantic, and North Dakota. In contrast, dry and windy conditions have prompted a red flag wildfire warning for certain areas in Utah and Oregon. But here's where it gets controversial. Are we doing enough to combat the climate crisis that is exacerbating these extreme weather events? What measures should be taken to protect the most vulnerable populations during such heat waves? Share your thoughts along the comments below. Extreme Heat Wave 2025, how climate change is making it worse. Imagine sweltering through days where the heat feels like a relentless, oppressive force, temperatures climbing to dizzying heights and refusing to dip even at night. That's exactly what millions of Americans are facing this week as a powerful midsummer heat wave tightens its grip across much of the United States. But here's the part that might shock you. This isn't just an ordinary weather event. Scientists say climate change has made this extreme heat wave far more likely and far more dangerous. Starting on July 21st, 2025, a sprawling stretch of intense heat and humidity began blanketing large portions of the country, originating in the southeast before surging into the mid-south and eventually spreading toward the Midwest and beyond. By midweek, cities and states such as Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, northern Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas could see triple-digit temperatures for multiple consecutive days. And it doesn't stop there. By late week, these searing conditions are expected to creep into parts of the Northeast. Factor in high humidity and the situation becomes even more dire, with heat index values soaring between 105 degrees Fahrenheit and 110 degrees Fahrenheit in regions like the Central Plains, Midwest, and along the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just the daytime highs that are alarming. Nighttime offers little relief, as unusually warm overnight lows in the mid-70s to low 80s, up to 15 degrees Fahrenheit above average, are forecast to shatter long-standing records for the warmest minimum temperatures in several states, including Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, South Carolina, and Tennessee. What's driving this extended period of blistering heat? A massive dome of high pressure, often referred to as a heat dome, is parked over the region, funneling scorching air northward and eastward. This weather phenomenon acts like the lid, trapping hot air beneath it and amplifying the already stifling conditions. But how much of this can we blame on climate change? According to a detailed analysis by Climate Central, human-caused climate change has made this oppressive heat wave at least 3 times more likely for nearly 160 million people, almost half of the U.S. population. In some areas, particularly across broad sections of the country from Salt Lake City and Santa Fe to Tallahassee and Montgomery, the likelihood of experiencing such extreme heat has increased by a staggering factor of 5. These findings highlight what scientists refer to as a climate shift index CSI level of 5, the highest rating possible, indicating an extraordinary influence of climate change on this event. Dr. Crispina Dull, Vice President of Science at Climate Central, put it bluntly. This isn't your grandmother's heat wave. While July has always been known for its summer sizzle, she explained, climate change is turning up the dial, making today's heat waves significantly hotter and deadlier than those of decades past. The implications are clear. Rising temperatures aren't just uncomfortable. They're a growing public health threat. So how do researchers quantify the role of climate change in events like this? Tools like the Climate Shift Index employ cutting-edge, peer-reviewed methodologies combined with real-time data to calculate how much more probable certain daily temperatures have become due to human activities. For instance, if a temperature that once had a 1 in 100 chance of occurring now happens every 20 years, scientists can attribute that shift directly to climate change. And this is where things get controversial. While the evidence linking climate change to extreme weather grows stronger, debates persist about how aggressively society should respond. Should governments prioritize immediate action over economic concerns? Are individuals doing enough to reduce their carbon footprints? These questions don't have easy answers, but they demand urgent attention. If you're interested in learning more, resources abound. From quick facts about extreme heat to in-depth guides on reporting attribution science, organizations like Climate Central provide tools to help journalists, policymakers, and everyday citizens better understand the connection between climate change and weather extremes. Explore their Extreme Heat Toolkit, or dive deeper into the data using platforms like the Global Climate Shift Index map. Now here's something to ponder. Do you think the world is doing enough to combat climate change? Or do you believe we're falling short in preparing for the realities of a warming planet? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.